Hello YouTube. Um, this video is a tad on the late side because we had company recently and because of other reasons that actually tie in quite nicely to what I want to talk about today. The video I'm responding to from my wife, a large part of what she was talking about is acceptance of the situation that you're in, acceptance of your anxiety, your mental health issue, whatever that happens to be. And that's what I want to talk about. So it's not the only thing she touched on, but it's the part that I think is most important to address at this time, especially considering the fact that this has been delayed, because I've been experiencing a great deal of anxiety over the last few weeks. Partly because we had company. Friend came to visit for a week and a half, and as much as I enjoyed having him here, we had a lot of fun. I will say only this: fucking bucket bastard. Anyway, we had a lot of fun. We played games and stuff, and it was all great. But having somebody else in my home did get to be a bit much for me. It was quite overwhelming at times. So after he left, it was great to be, to have my space back. But more importantly than that, we also went to an expo 2 weeks, Saturday before last. So at the time of this year, Saturday before last. Can't remember exactly what the date was, but it's something I'd known about for a while. Weirdly enough, I didn't have much trouble once beforehand, because the night, not the night before, but the night before that, both of us, we stayed up really late, and we just pretty much stayed up overnight. Figured, we might have some problems with anxiety, so it's better to do it now, so that even if we are anxious the night before, we'll be so tired that we'll have to sleep. It seems to have worked out quite nicely, and I didn't have much in the way of anxiety, though towards the end of the day it did get it was really overwhelming. But it was a lot of fun. Then he left a few days later. We did some streaming. A lot of the games that we played whilst we were there, we were able to get review codes and in some cases alpha builds that were sent directly to us, which felt awesome, because one of them had down in the corner here said pixeljudge.com, which is the site I write for, built specifically for that. There was another one. I spoke to the chaps who made it and said that they'd actually fixed some of the bugs that we'd found the day before, and they made a build specifically to give to us for streaming. So it felt really badass. It was all public stuff, even though nobody really came to interact on the stream. I don't think anybody even watched it, but whatever. Oh wait, no, but one of them did. One of the developers turned up, and we had a nice chat with him whilst we were playing his game. I think that was Ursats. I think it was Ursats. He's a fucking amazing guy, that guy. Paris Stalker, what an awesome name. Anyway, there was all that, and then he left, and so the day before the expo, or the day before that, so either the Thursday or the Friday, I found a card wallet on the floor. It had bank card and travel card, driver's license and stuff, and the guy lives only a couple of miles from here, and I was trying to figure out how to get it back to him. So it was about 2 miles, so I'd be on foot. It's an almost 4 mile round trip. I wasn't in a rush to go and walk down there. I was thinking I might post it, but if I was going to post it, I'd do it, recorded delivery to make sure that it got there. And then I found a number inside, which I kept saying, I'll contact that. I'll see if they know who it is. And the idea of speaking to somebody, and the fact that he'd be getting it. Eventually, I sent a text message to that number. And then he made arrangements to come and pick it up yesterday. It was just all those things on top of each other led to me being where I am now. I was thinking I could have done this. I could have made myself do it, but this comes back to what I was talking about with acceptance. I need to accept the fact that sometimes the anxiety is too much for me, and I just have to let it run its course, which is what I did, leading to today, where I finally feel like I'm able to talk about this. I've wanted to do it. I wanted to do it whilst he was here. I wanted to do it last week. Finally, we're getting it here 3 weeks late. 2 weeks late, whatever. It's just... yeah. Because for a very, very long time, I kept trying to fight against it. I kept trying to overcome it. It's like I kept forcing myself to get a job, to get up and go to work, and to go out and see people, and it's exhausting. And a lot of people do the same thing. Just power through it. And for some people, it does work. I'm not saying you should just give up and just do whatever. Just the hell with it. But there will be times when you'll have to accept the fact that you can't just power through it. Maybe you need to accept the fact that you need help in the first place, that you need to see a doctor, that you need to talk to somebody, or just that you need to take a few days off. Whatever it is. In my case, I've been living with this long enough now that my way of dealing with it is to just be like, fuck it, there's nothing I can do about it right now, just let it run its course, have a few days where I feel terrible, and then get over it. Or not. Sometimes I don't. It never really goes away. Just some days it's easier than others. After a while, what usually happens to me is I leave it for long enough that I get bored. Well, literally, that's often what gets me going again, is I'm bored of just dealing with it. I'm like, I'm just accepting it. I'm just letting it run rampant. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let this win anymore. But at the same time, I still accept the fact that anxiety is a part of my life. Agoraphobia is a part of who I am. I'm not defined by it, but it is part of what I am. I don't allow it to rule the way that I live. I still talk to people. I still sometimes leave the house, even when I don't need to. I sometimes go out just to go out because I can at the time. I know I'm going to pay for it afterwards, no matter how good I feel about it. I don't know what just happened with the camera there. I don't know if you saw that. It sort of flickered for a moment. It flipped around or something. Bombs. So, what was I saying? Yeah, it's always there. The agoraphobia is always there. I'm pretty sure it's always going to be. No matter what happens, there'll always be that potential for it to come back. It's like the fact that I'm a smoker. I didn't smoke for 7 years, but I always knew that I was a smoker, but sooner or later it was going to happen again. It has. And that can sound quite defeatist to a lot of people, and I can understand the argument behind that. That's why I was the same way for a long time. I kept thinking, I have to fight against it. Don't give in, because then it's going to happen. And it's not that straightforward. It's not a case of giving in. It's not a case of just letting it be like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's accepting the fact that sometimes there really will not be anything you can do about it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in admitting that you are not strong enough. You're strongest when you can admit that you are weak. So I think that's what I really want to get at, is there are two facts. First of all, sometimes you just have to accept the fact that there's nothing you can do. That doesn't mean you're giving up. It means being aware, fully understanding that no matter how good something is, or no matter what you do, such and such certain things are always going to happen. There'll always be an issue. You can work around them. You can step past them. Sometimes you can overcome them, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't ever a thing to begin with. And there's no shame in being too weak to carry on sometimes. Everybody has moments of weakness. And fighting against them often makes things worse because it just drains you. You don't win. You just wear yourself out even further. And believe me, I know a thing or two about that. I think that's all I have to say on this one. So until the next time, hopefully that'll be next week, but I don't know for certain. But until then, thank you for watching. I'm going to go let my cat out because he's in the bedroom.